Hi, Fiona. Welcome everyone to the Other World podcast. Also, we'll be on YouTube. The two of us are going to talk about the energies that are coming up in the next month, and then each week we'll speak to the energy of the week coming. But because we've just today entered March, we'll be crossing the whole of the month and just kind of feeling into everything that's going on. And so welcome, Fee.
Hi, and welcome everyone. This is an exciting new direction for us, and I'm looking forward to exploring it today.
Yeah, so we're both going to cover different aspects of the month, and I'm going to start with the card that I drew, and I drew it from the Archetypes deck. It's Kim Cran's deck, and I love it. I use it a lot. It's actually probably the deck that I use the most at the moment, so it's good to give a shout out to her, because she's really done an amazing job on bringing on all the archetypes, which I work with a lot. And it didn't surprise, I mean, it never surprises me what card comes up, but the one that I did get, Fee, is Kairos.
And I love that card.
It's mythic time, which it just it's this beautiful place that we're in, and we will be in for the Pisces season. But it also speaks to, I think, our podcast name, which is The Other World, which going into Pisces feels beautiful for the beginning of the Other World podcast. I guess our intention of this podcast just a little bit is to kind of bring the other world into this world and translate it for anybody listening. So I think we've perfectly started at the right time. And I think the very first card that was pulled, being Kairos, couldn't get more perfect. And the other piece about that card is it's almost like a split time. So you've got two time continuums, one in the mythic time and one now, which I know both of us have spoke to, feeling like this is really ramped up, that kind of split in time, and you can really feel either time moving very, very slow, or this quickening. And then if you're feeling into both, you can almost feel yourself slowing down within the quickening, or being at the center of it, almost like the center of a hurricane, being in the eye of it, being quite still, but everything else moving quite quickly. So I know I've been feeling a lot of that. And I know things have shifted for me enormously when we moved into Pisces, and we've just come out of the full moon being in Virgo. So for me, that's the axis of on the astrological wheel of the Virgo and Pisces, which again is like this world and the other world. Virgo being very much the sign of service, being very much an earth sign, being here, and then the Pisces moving into the water and the emotion, and those higher realms of intuition. So for me, I guess it's that axis that is going to play during the month of March, being that split between our higher selves and our intuition, and very much trying to bring that into this world. And I think also that being both of those, being this both mutable signs, we'll be feeling a lot of that, and there may not be a lot of action going on. I think that there might be almost a lot happening behind the scenes that might get us ready for stepping into the new astrological year in Aries. That'll happen within the month of March, going into that fire-driven energy. We're in that ending, we're in that higher, maybe looking at what's happened over the last year, and sitting in that place of the in-between, working out what has come from the year that we've been in, which has been huge for everyone, and then how we want to step in to our power in a new way as we enter the Aries energy.
Wow.
Pass it over to you, Fee.
Well, I'd just like to reflect on getting the Kairos card, because I'm loving that card at the moment and feeling into this energy of Kairos. Kairos time is just, I mean, to me, Kairos time is the time of no time. It's where you just go into that place where time just really doesn't exist. And we reach moments of being in that space where we really just, time becomes irrelevant to us. Often when we're in meditation and that sort of thing, we can sink deeper into Kairos time. But it almost feels as if that's becoming our new norm. We're letting go. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a long time before we let go completely of the concept of time being a very human creation in itself. But just the more moments we can spend in Kairos time, the better, really. That's where our intuition is so heightened. It's where our sense of self is so strong. It's where we can really connect into all that is, and where time just really becomes irrelevant. So for me, that's exciting that you chose that card. And I mean, as we do more and more of these podcasts on these different themes, I'm sure we're going to realize just how accurate your cards are when you pull them. It always kind of blows me away. But it's one of the things I love. But I too drew a card today, and for anyone that knows me, I'm not a cards person normally, but it feels really beautiful actually to feel into the Akashic records. I mean, on a daily basis, I look into the Akashic records for the energies anyway, as a reference point. But to sit in sort of focusing on the month ahead, it was a really actually nice process to do. It's something that I really wanted to bring into this podcast. And it really felt right to draw a card as well to, I don't know, to complement that, complement the information that I was being shown. And the cards that I chose was this one, Wind Sprite, which is from the Dream Dust Shamanic Tarot deck, which you put me onto actually. And I just love these cards. Mostly I love them. I mean, they've got a beautiful energy, but I just love the artwork in them and the colors and everything. Oh, absolutely amazing. Yes, that's right. You can remember her name. I haven't got it in
shout
front
out
of
to
me.
Sue.
Yeah, and we'll put the notes, I think, in the show notes at the end of the podcast as well, for anyone that wants to look them up. But they've been absolutely beautiful cards to work with, I think, for a very long time. And that card to me, I mean, I'm sure there's some information in the book about it, but I always read intuitively. It just brought up this sense of the fire starter energy that we talk about quite often. The fire starter being that sort of place, that archetype that you kind of embody when your passion is starting to rise, when you're feeling your inspiration and new ideas are forming, and you're really curious, you know, you've got lots of questions and you're just getting ideas and you just want to run with them. And this felt really aligned with what I was being shown in the Akashic records today around the energies of March. It's just that energy of getting up and going, you know, just doing it, just getting out there and doing what you want to do, being courageous, being brave, stepping into the new inspirations that are surfacing, just giving it a go and seeing what happens. And that feels very much like the energy of March in that regards as well. So this is, you know, feels incredibly inquisitive to me, that real energy of curiosity. And I'm a real question person. I love to ask lots of questions. So whenever I'm working with my intuition, whenever I'm in conversation with people, I just kind of bombard them with questions because I really want to know the answers to things. So that for me felt like a really beautiful card. You might have a slightly different interpretation on it. Maybe you could share that with us afterwards. But yeah, I mean, that was certainly what I was feeling around that. So just to dive in a little bit, I thought I'd bring in some numerology around the month of March. Now, numerology isn't something that I offer, but it's something that I'm really interested in. I've been interested in it for a few years now. And so it's really kind of at the moment becoming a bigger thing in my life. And so I'd really love to share some of my interpretation of what this feels like. And the month of March is actually a universal 8 month. So although it's the 3rd month of the year, the numerology of 2021 is 5. It's a 5 year. So when we add those two together, we kind of get the energy of the month of March 2021. And so it's important, I think, though, to look at the energies of both the 3 and the 5 in that 8, because they both have an influence on obviously what we're going to be feeling and what we're going to be experiencing this month with the energies. And so 3 brings in a lot of energy around optimism, joy, and again, inspiration, that sort of uplifting energy. And there's also a lot of growth and expansion with that 3 energy. 5 brings in the energies of, you know, there's a lot of different energies that are attached to that kind of combine to make the 8. But for me, it was the 3 that was really standing out, the 3 and the 8 today. So I'm going to focus on those. So 8, when we look at that combination, is the energy of really personal power, your manifesting abilities, your achievements in life, all of those kind of aspects of who you are. Money is a strong focus for 8 energy as well, and career and business. They're all things that come together with that 8 energy. And when I was feeling into this, I was being shown and guided around talking about how our manifesting abilities are going to be kind of heightened throughout the month of March. You're going to notice that whatever you are putting your energy towards, whatever you're wanting to create this month, is coming to you very quickly. So manifestation is a lot of heightened energy this month. And so this means that you need to be kind of very clear about what it is you want to create, because you're going to attract it in. And if you haven't got clarity around it, you're going to be probably attracting in a lot of things that you don't really want. So be very clear, I think, is the message with that archetype for this month. Be very clear about what you want to create and start to attract that in, because we're in a very magnetic time. I think you and I have talked about this before. It's all about what we're attracting in now rather than what we're striving and driving towards. So it's really important to get inner clarity so that we can attract in exactly what we want. We're not going out for it anymore. It's an inner journey, that journey into attraction and manifestation. So making sure that you're in alignment with your feelings, your thoughts, and your action is really important still in your manifesting process. But it's also really important when we're talking about attracting in what we want, to address anything that's getting in your way around your self-belief system, or feeling good enough to get what you want. So those are energies that I'm going to talk about in a moment when I look at the energies from the Akashic record for the month as well. So this 8 energy is also a very strong feminine number, and all about giving and receiving as well. So this is a really for taking notice around where we're giving our energy and where we're receiving our energy. And so this was very evident to me when I went into the Akashic records and asked for some guidance around the month of March. And I was really showing that the energy of receiving in particular is the underlying, almost the energy that's weaving its way through this coming month for us, that we'll keep somehow coming back to. So when we're talking about receiving energy, it's all about opening our heart, expanding our heart into what we want to receive at this time. And also paying attention to our ability to receive as well. Noticing whether we hold any woundings around being able to receive, you know, how open are we being to receiving love, energy, things from other people? You know, how easy is it for us to accept a compliment, for example? Or how easy is it for us to enjoy somebody doing something for us? These are all little things that we can pay attention to this month to really understand where we're sitting in regards to receiving. Can we allow ourselves to receive? Are we holding any woundings around being able to receive? Sometimes when we don't feel good enough, it's really difficult for us to receive things from other people. If we don't feel worthy or we don't value ourselves, we can also struggle to receive from others. And also a strong energy that underlies receiving a lot is feeling guilty. You know, feeling guilty if we put ourselves first, or feeling guilty if we address our own needs first. That can be quite a big wounding to work through for a lot of people. So it's really important, I think, through the month of March, just to pay attention. And you'll see it coming up, I'm sure, in different ways, in different life areas throughout the month, where you're struggling maybe to receive from others. The opposite to receiving, because we've always got to look at the kind of shadow energy around this, or the other side of the energy. I wouldn't call it a shadow energy, actually, it's giving. So giving and receiving is that theme that of the archetype of 8 works with anyway. But looking at, are you giving too much? Are you giving what you're not receiving from other people? Or even, are you giving too little? Are you struggling to give? Are you receiving more? So these are all massive questions that you can contemplate throughout the month of March. And I'm sure as we look at each week individually, those themes are going to come up in different ways. But yes, that was really where I got to with so I feel like I just said all of that in one breath.
Yeah, but amazing, because amongst all of that, there were so many synchronicities with things that I've been picking up. I mean, just what you said about the number 8. For me, the musicalness of Pisces and Virgo is the energy that kind of flows like this, and so it is that infinity sign. So that's beautiful right there. And you were also talking to the manifesting all the things that you want, and one thing that I've been feeling into is that there's a lot of things coming up, a lot of places to put energy. And so really feeling into, where do I want my energy to go, instead of dispersing it into very many different places. And I'm definitely feeling like, for me, I guess the Pisces nature of the beginning of the month is a little bit around feeling into where and what you're wanting to be manifesting into the world. And then when we get further into the month in the Aries time, that's the step to, okay, let's see how we can get it all happening. And the card that you pulled, which is that beautiful wind sprite. And I know that Sue, when she her intention around the cards is that every time you read them intuitively, as opposed to really going to the book. And every time they look a little bit different. And when you put it up into the screen, I just saw the big love heart that almost seems to be painted into the sky. And this month we have Venus in Pisces for the month, and Venus is sitting really close to the moon. I think we have an exact conjunction between them mid-month, as well as Neptune. And so there's this really beautiful there's a look at that feminine place and a look at that love place, which I think we're both feeling into in different ways, which I love. I mean, we are in a feminine month, and I think everything around love, even if this is a self-love as opposed to an external love, particularly I think because the Sun and Venus are quite close together. The brightness of the sun tends to hide the visibility of Venus. So it's almost like we've been asked to look internally at that place of love, as opposed to seeking it externally. So just those places of emotion and those places that we need to look to within. Yeah, that were all the things that came up from the different things that you're feeling into around the month as a whole.
Yeah, and I love that there's that synchronicity between the two, because there's so many different layers of different influences that we are sitting in, and so it's nice to see the sort of cohesion between them, the more when we're looking at them from completely different directions or different ways of looking at the other world and the otherworldly things that we have available to us as well. There's one piece I think that I was shown as well around, whilst this is a highly feminine month in terms of the energy that we're working with, there's also this sense of practical action, which is much more masculine based, but it's taking the action through our feminine. That's the sort of overriding aspect, I think, of this energy. But what practical action can I take this month to manifest what I want is really important, because sometimes the act of taking action kind of gets overlooked by people. I think we've got our mind aligned to what I want to create, and I'm feeling really strongly and I'm attracting it in, but then you actually have to take the action. And so there's a lot this month around the practical action that you can actually take. What do you need to do? What do you actually need to take steps around, push yourself maybe out of your comfort zone a little bit, all of those aspects of taking practical action towards what you want to create as well.
Well, that's exactly that Pisces Virgo axis I was talking to before, where Virgo is very much the service in this world. So how can I bring all the higher, I guess in a way, the Pisces higher self, serving your higher self, and then bringing all of those into this world in that Virgo way of manifesting it here or serving here. So I love that too. It's we're on that same, and we've just been in the Virgo full moon, so that energy is being very, very strong leading into March. And in the middle of March, we're in the new moon in Pisces. So it's another of that internal feminine place. So the balance between the two is a beautiful for the month.
Absolutely. It's a month to look forward to, I think. January and February were very uncomfortable for a lot of people, but this month the energy seems, I don't know, a lot more supportive
and gentle in a way.
Yeah, a lot more gentle. And so, yes, I think it's going to be a more cruisium for people, although every time you say that, of course, something comes in to upset the apple cart, but we'll see. I mean, we're going to do these.
Don't bring it in.
Yeah, we're going to do these weekly, so we can keep touching in and feeling into those energies a week ahead, so that we know what to expect.
Yeah, and we'll keep it nice and short like that. I know that there was a glitch in the recording halfway through or quite close to the beginning. I'm sure it happened at the most perfect place. So if you notice that, bear with us. But we'll be back next Monday and every Monday to give you an idea of what we're feeling into in the other world.
Yay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.